Hey everyone, and welcome to the Dota 2 Builds of the Week, the weekly series where I show you guys top 5 meta builds to help you get started with new heroes in Dota 2. As always, all the builds are linked below in the description. Let's get started. Today we're starting with Phantom Assassin, Position 1 Phantom Assassin. Now her win rate is hovering around 50%, which is traditionally not what we're looking for. We're looking for a couple points higher. But a lot of pros are currently experimenting, and she's one of the top pick carries right now in the last week or so, which has been a little interesting. The build on PA is actually relatively straightforward, which is fortunate for newer players because it is one of those heroes that is very consistent with their build-up. With the recent kind of buff to Wraith Band, some people are actually going into the double Wraith Band as a farming mechanic, and then what they're doing is they're building into their boots and Battle Fury. From there, you move from camp to camp, utilizing Phantom Strike whenever possible in order to amplify the amount of farming potential you have, going right into BKB. Once you have your BKB, you can then consider, do I fight now? What are my prospects at this point? But you're usually building a Basher and a Satanic as well. Once you have the Satanic complete, you basically become an absolutely unkillable machine, because with Satanic and Coup de Grace, you will be healing with a tremendous amount of healing and damage. With regards to her optional items, Desolator is often picked earlier if you want to be fighting more. You go Deso as opposed to something like a Battle Fury if you want to fight more often. But if you're starting out, I do recommend the main item progression build in order to get comfortable with the hero. From there, you start to experiment with different optional items depending on the game situation. With regards to Position 2 mid, Zeus is back. Zeus is seeing some experimentation again at mid now that he has received a number of buffs over the last couple patches. What's interesting about him is that his playstyle is also relatively straightforward for new players, and I've actually done a full guide to Zeus, so if you are interested in seeing that, I can link it up above. With regards to the general game plan, though, the Cole's notes of it all is that you are essentially going to max Arc Lightning first, so that you can push the waves under the enemy tower, so you can farm the small camp as well. You're taking value points in Static Field and Lightning Bolt, while always having a Mango on you to ensure that you can cast Thunder God's Wrath at level 6 whenever possible. It's one of the main reasons why Zeus is mid, because the timing of Thunder God's Wrath is tremendous. It is a tremendously useful ultimate with global potential. Long story short, you're taking a lot of regen, you're going bottle into boots, you're going to go into Aether Lens into a Aghanim's Scepter. Now, the interesting thing is some pros are actually skipping the Aether Lens altogether, not building Arcane Boots, and actually finishing a Boots of Travel early. That is something you can experiment with as you become more comfortable with the hero. It is currently something that more advanced players are doing, but for the average player, I do recommend what I have here. Optional items, I do like the Lincoln Sphere. Aeon Disc is still absolutely fantastic, and if you're being right-clicked by PAs and stuff like that, Ghost Scepter, which I know is kind of falling off the screen when I hover it, is a great way to mitigate damage. With regards to the talent tree, I know a lot of players like to take the mana regen, but the movement speed and health give him so much added survivability, especially at lower MMRs. If you want to increase the amount of damage potential you have, I still think you take movement speed, but maybe the static damage at 15 is going to really do a tremendous amount of damage, because remember, Static Field, a lot of people really underestimate how much damage it'll do at the end of a game. Legion Commander is our Position 3 offlaner of the week, and she is a tremendous hero from a number of different reasons. First, she can carry from off lane, which I know a lot of players are interested in doing, and she's also a very capable initiator. What's unique about Legion Commander, when we refer to her builds in particular, is that she's one of those heroes that has a very wide range of flexible builds. Whereas in Position 1, we talked about how PA kind of has like this cooker-cutter standard build that people like to go. Legion Commander has a ton of variance between skill builds and item builds. But this one that I'm showing you here is the one that I suggest for new players as you start to kind of get accustomed to Legion Commander. And as you get more comfortable, you can start to modify the build slightly. I do recommend that you go Bracer into Phase Boots, Blade Mail into Blink Dagger. Now, you can actually swap Blink Dagger for Blade Mail, like kind of the order of the two, depending on what the other team's lineup is. Like, if they have a very squishy lineup in your head, you can actually go Blink first to kind of farm those dual stacks early. But if, you're a little more evenly matched, the Blade Mail helps you catch people, especially with your level 10 talent, and basically pull them right directly into you. BKB is absolutely required so that you don't get controlled while you're dueling. From there, you need to understand that you need to ferry out a ton of clarities. She is very mana inefficient, and so clarities are going to be very valuable, and of course Magic Wand can provide you with a lot of benefit as well. It's also worth noting that one of the builds that's very beneficial for Legion Commander in particular is moving towards an Armlet early, because then you can activate it when you're dueling. Some people actually go Armlet and with Brown Boots and even skip the Blade Mail in order to utilize the Armlet damage instead. So she has a ton of variation with her abilities, but ultimately, she has a ton of utility, and she's even seen play at position 5 thanks to the strong dispel of press the attack, although that is extremely niche and I don't recommend it at the vast majority of MMRs. Mirana is a staple position 4 that I feel that all support players should at least experiment with and learn how to play. She's one of those heroes that has a tremendous amount of utility, in particular with Moonlight Shadow. And I know what you're thinking, Alex, I'm in low MMR, no one uses Moonlight Shadow properly. But you know what? It's still a damn good ability. You have a long, amazing stun. Provided it's unreliable because you have to land it, but if you do, it's fantastic, right? She has a very flexible build up, and there's even potential for her to carry if you want to build super greedy. But ultimately, the build that you're seeing here revolves around being a top tier support. I do like the Vessel on her. The Yule Scepter Divinity gives you the added movement speed, the mana regeneration, but most importantly, a setup so that you can Yule somebody, and as they land, you arrow them, which is of great value as well. Solar Crest, Lotus Orb, these are all items that really benefit the team. Mirana is like one of those ultimate team players that really has the potential to turn any team fight into their team's advantage. I can't tell you how excited I am that Ogre Magi is back legitimately in the pro meta. He's being picked very frequently for different reasons, but mainly because he's just really strong right now, and I love that. He is a hero that is tremendously good to play, whether you are an expert or a brand new player. So he is a hero that anybody should be experimenting with, and everybody should be experimenting with. Right now, the build is relatively straightforward. You're going with your standard itemization, Orb of Venom. I will also recommend that you check out the full beginner's guide that I have. I'll link it above if you are interested in learning how to play Ogre Magi. I go through absolutely everything. I do still recommend for new players that you go your Arcane Boots into your Aether Lens. Some players are actually skipping Aether Lens altogether on Ogre Magi and rushing more valuable items earlier, because in lower MMRs you tend to play Ogre Magi as like a backline kind of spellcaster, but in the early game before you even need an Aether Lens, he's tanky enough to kind of absorb a lot of damage for your team. So there's an argument to be made to not go Aether Lens and kind of get right into the mix. And then maybe even build Aether Lens later, because Ogre Magi does not scale as a tank at all, but early in the game, like the first 15 levels, he's hard to kill. So that's something worth considering as well. He has tremendous utility. If you're getting greedy, go Midas. But, obviously the Octarine Core makes him very, very tanky. The reduced cooldown on his spell, especially with the recently buffed Ignite. He is just an absolutely amazing hero. He's so damn good right now. I recommend that everybody give him a shot. And the build is relatively straightforward. And he's a hero that no matter what your skill level is, he'll always be useful. Thank you so much for watching, and a very special thank you to all of our wonderful subscribers. We will see you in the next Dota 2 video.